A closer look at what could be at risk if council wants to lower Regina's mill rate forecast. The NDP opposition introduces rent control legislation, why the government plans to vote it down. And Canadian Western Agribition kicks off in Regina.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Lee is away tonight. A 15.69% mill rate hike is on the table for Regina residents as part of the city's budget forecasts. But as councillors look for ways to reduce that increase, some organizations are fearful of funding being rolled back. Donovan Mace has more.
For over 35 years, the Regina Floral Conservatory has operated as a non-profit.
This is not only a place not only for tourism, but a place of culture, of education, and of mental health.
The organization is requesting $20,000 in city grant funding as part of Regina's 2026 budget, but that may be in jeopardy as council looks for ways to cut additional expenses.
When you find out such hard news, sometimes it might be shocking.
Last month, council requesting options to reduce the overall mill rate by as much as 18.5%. In response, nearly 140 potential reductions are on the table, which could save over $71 million, including reducing grants for community partners like the Conservatory, Real and Economic Development Regina, canceling city events like I Love Regina Day and Light the Lights, or even closing fire halls, recreational and community centers.
We don't do this lightly. We're not taking any joy. We're not making any professional recommendation to do that.
Some councillors say it is unlikely each and every expense highlighted will be cut. However, nothing is off the table in order to keep Regina one of the most affordable cities to live in Canada.
Change is more important than cut. So far, no one is really opposed to spending a little bit more for critical infrastructure.
But if folks are mad with an increase, wait to see what will happen if we start cutting things like outdoor hockey rinks and community centers and snow removal.
As the Conservatory hopes its long-standing partnership with the city may continue.
We're confident the city will make the right choices, understanding that the money that they're investing is going towards the community.
Now, the city's budget forecast, including that 15.69% mill rate hike, is not final. Council is scheduled to debate and approve the final budget when deliberations begin December 15th. Donovan Mace, CTV News, Regina.
The NDP opposition has introduced a rent control bill in the Saskatchewan legislature that would tie future rent increases to changes in the consumer price index. But as Wayne Mantika reports, the legislation has little chance of passing because the government believes it would discourage rental housing construction.
Saskatchewan has led the nation in rent increases over the past 2 years, according to rentals.ca. It's up by 24%. The NDP is continuing its push for rent control.
But the reality is the biggest offenders here are large corporate landlords that are not building new buildings. They're coming in, they are jacking up rent, and they're taking profits out of the province.
The opposition has introduced a private member's bill that would limit annual rent increases to the change in the consumer price index. Currently, it's about 2.4%. A group of seniors who have faced annual rent increases support rent control.
So the first year our rent went up $70. The second year it went up $160 a month. And this past lease, $70. So there's no consistency as to why.
About half the provinces currently have rent control in place. Some community advocates believe it's time that Saskatchewan joined the list.
It is obvious in recent years that rents have become excessive. The fallout from that is significant.
Landlords warn that rent control could discourage construction of new units and create a rental housing shortage.
And we need to be saying yes to housing and allowing our providers to make investments in Saskatchewan and continue to provide much-needed, high-quality rental homes for families.
The Saskatchewan government has consistently opposed rent control.
But in most jurisdictions where they do that, where they tie it to something, it sounds good on the surface, but what happens is you've got to incentivize more housing units to be built.
The NDP has been strongly advocating for rent control in recent months, but with With the government holding the majority in the legislature, the proposal is likely to be defeated. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
One man is dead after a crash near Moose Jaw last Friday. Police say a semi and a car collided north of Moose Jaw on Highway 2 at around 12:30 p.m. Friday. The driver of the car was declared dead on scene by EMS. His family has been notified. He's been identified as a 25-year-old man from Moose Jaw. The driver of the semi was not injured but was taken to hospital as a precaution. Regina police say an investigation into a report of potential animal abuse involving poultry was deemed non-criminal. On Saturday, police and animal protection officers were called to a home in the city's southeast, finding the residents had bought upwards of 70 chickens and ducks from local farms to be butchered for consumption, which is legal. The call was deemed non-criminal and no further police action was needed. The Regina Humane Society says it is aware of the situation and is looking into it, but can't comment further. A man accused of trying to extort a former Saskatchewan MLA has had his charge stayed by the Crown. The trial was set to begin on Monday, but it was removed from the docket, according to Court of King's Bench. Harpinder Bajwa was charged in 2023 by the Regina Police Service for allegedly trying to extort then Saskatchewan Party MLA Gary Greywall. Police said at the time Greywall was approached by the suspect, who was asked for the MLA's support in a local political election process. When Greywall refused, the suspect threatened to cause harm to his personal and professional life. The Ministry of Justice told CTV News the case did not meet the prosecution standard, as public prosecutions must be satisfied that there's a reasonable likelihood of conviction. As a result, the prosecutor directed a stay of proceedings. Dangerous drug alerts have been issued in both Regina and Saskatoon over the last week, highlighting a surge in drug overdoses in the province. CTV's Carla Shinkaruk spoke with a woman working on the front lines of the crisis who knows firsthand what addiction can do.
We're losing people. They're falling through the cracks.
Chantel Huel spends her days connecting to those on the streets of Saskatoon.
Every person that we meet is actually human and they deserve to live.
She's constantly reminded of the human cost. After surviving addictions herself, she now helps others. She questions government plans to get people the help they need.
People calling the shots that have never lived addictions, that have never been homeless, that have never stuck a needle in their arm before tucking their children in goodnight. They've never lived on the street.
Last week, Saskatchewan's health ministry issued toxic drug alerts for Saskatoon and Regina. After that, the provincial NDP called for immediate expansion of detox and treatment services.
People are dying every single day. People are overdosing from the poisonous drugs that are out on the street.
The Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, Laurie Carr, said this today about 500 new treatment spaces being introduced.
We already have just about 300 of those spaces in place, and of course with the goal of getting to those 500 as soon as we can, Mr. Speaker. So we look forward to all of those spaces being open, evaluating exactly what is in our system and what needs to come next.
Last week, Carr said once they have all the spaces open, a central intake system should be up and running, which will provide a comprehensive list of those who need help and work towards getting them appropriate level of service. Huel wants to see better coordination between treatment centers and outreach workers, which could save lives.
I'm a person with lived experience. I have 7 years in recovery.
The province told CTV News in an email, last week we announced an additional investment of up to $20 million over 3 years to expand homelessness services and enhance supports for individuals experiencing homelessness. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A federal court ruling involving an Alberta First Nation northwest of Lloydminster could open the door for more financial transparency when it comes to band funding. Hallie Mandrick caught up with the activist behind the legal action in Saskatoon.
3 years ago, Hans McCarthy began raising questions regarding the finances of his community, Frog Lake First Nation in Alberta. He says Frog Lake's trust fund held revenues from natural resources located on banned lands. In 2013, McCarthy alleged the funds totaled around $102 million, but in 2024, less than $9 million remained in the account.
There's a lot of corruption in First Nation communities, and that's one of the things that are messing up what's going on in First Nation communities. opportunities to pursue this sets a precedence for, like you said, activists and people wanting to know what's going on with our monies in our communities.
After partnering up with the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, McCarthy filed a Federal Access to Information Act to acquire band council resolutions regarding the funds. Indigenous Services Canada initially refused to release the documents, so the matter was brought before the federal court.
So in Hans's court application, we argued that both the federal government and local First Nations leaders have a duty to provide this type of financial transparency to band members who request them. And the federal court agreed with our argument.
A Vancouver judge has ordered that within 30 days, McCarthy will be allowed to see the documents that he has been fighting to access for over 3 years. While he is interested to see the financial information, McCarthy says it's more about the precedent that this decision could set.
It's really exciting. It's really emotional. It's hard to put into words. I had a hard time sleeping the past couple of days because of this, because of how excited we are, and a lot of people have been getting hold of me all across North America. So it's pretty big news in First Nations country.
CTV reached out to Indigenous Services Canada. However, they were unable to provide a response in time for broadcast. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Time now to check in with Sabine Ahmed for a look at weather conditions across southern Saskatchewan. Sabine, it's Agribition week. That means a lot of boots, a lot of hats out. Hopefully nobody will need any extra grip on their cowboy boots as they make their way around the city this week.
Not in Regina, that's for sure. We do have, of course, those snowfall warnings that are issued in the southwest, and that we're continuing to monitor them. The system is expected to taper off tonight, leaving behind some cooler than seasonal temperatures. I'll talk more about that coming up in your forecast. But in terms of what's to come for the rest of the province, or at least for the south, not really much. Again, you can see on the radar satellite the way that system is bringing in the snow. Looks like it's headed straight for Regina, but if anything, Moose Jaw Regina could see trace amounts between now into tomorrow. But again, I'll talk more about that coming up in your forecast. Tonight, or even right now, our current temperature is still sitting a little warmer than seasonal for some parts. Parts of the southwest, like East and Cypress, at -4. Now, depending on where we are in the province, anywhere between -3 and -5 is the daytime seasonal temperature, the high. We got up to just above 0, so still warmer than average, but that's about to change for the rest of this week, and I'll talk about that as well in your forecast. Cole?
Thanks, Sabine. Well, the 54th edition of Canadian Western Agribition officially got underway this morning with the ceremonial burning of the brand. Jacob Carr has the details on what the week-long event means to the city and the province.
The Honourable Bernadette McIntyre was chosen for the burning of the brand this year at Agribition. McIntyre has attended all 54 iterations of the event and says getting to take part in the tradition was exhilarating.
I was so excited because I've been seeing people do this for decades. Very, very exciting, and they will. I'll get to keep that eventually. They cut it up and they give it to me. So
the annual event that brings in people from across Canada is also special to Miss Rodeo Agribition 2025, Abby Harty.
I am Saskatchewan. I am more than just land and latitude, more than grain silos and gravel roads. I am skies that stretch forever, fields that feed a nation, and people who ride for something bigger than themselves.
The 21-year-old from Edam was crowned Miss Rodeo Canada 2026 in October and is the first to earn the national title while also holding the Miss Rodeo Agribition crown.
It's incredible to be able to represent something that you're so passionate about and to be able to write that down and take that to a competition like Miss Rodeo Canada and explain to the people in that room exactly what event I'm representing and where I'm from.
For organizers, Agribition is also about educating the younger generation on the importance of agriculture in the province.
You talk to almost any of the older generation here and they all remember coming as a kid. They, again, going through the barns, seeing the education, seeing the machinery. Again, it's just important to really showcase, that Saskatchewan is agriculture.
Kindop says Agribition is about bringing people together, but the spirit of the event is perhaps best summed up by the Miss Rodeo Canada 2026 in waiting.
But if you really want to know who I am, come visit me in the final week of November. That's when my soul stirs. When the fences get mended, the trailers roll in, and the city of Regina puts on her boots and goes western.
Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
The Regina Cancer Patient Lodge has undergone some major renovations and upgrades over the past 2 years. The lodge gives cancer patients from across southern Saskatchewan a place to stay in Regina while undergoing treatments and procedures, many of them right across the street at the Alan Blair Cancer Centre. The building opened 40 years ago and was in need of a new roof, windows, and heat pumps. Inside, the rooms also feature more comfortable beds and furniture.
We tried really hard, the design team, to make it not feel quite so hospital-like. Quite a few cancer patients have had their fill of the hospital setting, so we worked really hard to give it a more residential feel, as well as more safety features with our walk-in showers.
The lodge charges $40 a day per room, and a stay comes with 3 hot meals. More than half the cost of the $3 million project was raised by the Cancer Foundation of Saskatchewan. Delegates gathered in Saskatoon this weekend for the Métis Nation Fall Legislative Assembly. A grand entry complete with a fiddle was followed by President Glenn McCallum's State of the Nation address. He highlighted major progress in housing, early learning, health supports, and economic growth, reinforced by a new independent report. He's encouraged to see membership in the organization balloon to nearly 40,000 compared to only 2,000 when he took over in 2017.
That we are successful. We have businesses, we have programs, and with reconciliation, it's in the hands of the feds in the province to be able to give the right capacity, but it's on our shoulders to be able to do the job that needs to be done.
McCallum added that in the coming years, the Métis Nation will continue to focus on getting more young people involved so they can keep building towards the future. Saskatchewan's NDP held a reception to honor Joan Beattie today. Beattie was the first Indigenous woman elected into the Saskatchewan Legislative Assembly in 2003. She then became the first First Nations woman appointed to the Saskatchewan Cabinet. Beattie told guests about the importance of representation in the legislature.
Is so huge because your point of view, when you, especially if you're in cabinet or just you've been in your caucus, they need to hear the kinds of things that we're going through, in whether it's in a small northern community, Indigenous community, the challenges that we face. They need to hear that.
Beattie served as an MLA from 2003 to 2008. Being about as far from an ocean as you can get in Canada, Regina might not come to mind as the namesake for a Navy vessel. Despite that, the Queen City does share a name with the HMCS Regina, a Royal Canadian Navy ship with a special connection to a local pub. Sierra D'Souza Butts has more.
To restore the history of the first HMCS Regina, a display is being commemorated at a local pub.
It's very nice for my sailors who join and who serve here in Regina, Saskatchewan, to have a pub that is just so friendly and welcoming to members of the Royal Canadian Navy.
A model of the original Flower-class corvette is being introduced at Bushwhacker Brew Pub, capturing the details of the ship that served from 1942 to 1945 in the Battle of the Atlantic.
The most amazing part of that story is they were lost trying to help another ship, trying to rescue their sailors, and they were torpedoed themselves, losing 30 members of their crew, and miraculously, the ship sunk in 30 seconds.
Current serving HMCS Regina members based in Esquimalt, BC, helped remodel the display, presenting it as a gift to their home away from home.
Current HMCS Regina, they playfully call their officers' mess Bushwhacker West and consider us to be Bushwhacker East here in the middle of Saskatchewan.
Bushwhacker Brewpub's support for the Canadian military goes as far back as 34 years ago when its late founder and president visited HMCS Regina twice.
There's actually 3 different models of the original HMCS Regina, and what I've been told is this one is the most accurate and the most detailed. So we're very pleased to have a model of this quality in our brew pub.
The model's new home port will be accompanying other military memorabilia at the pub, sitting on a shelf in front of a picture of the current HMCS Regina. Sierra D'Souza Buds, CTV News, Regina.
Nominations are now open for the Regina Citizen of the Year presented by CTV. The Citizen of the Year award each year is given to an individual who exemplifies excellence in community service and is making a difference in our community. To find out how to nominate that special someone, guides are available here at CTV Regina or through our website. The deadline to submit nominations is Friday, December 5th. We'll announce this year's recipient on December 31st, New Year's Eve. Still ahead, how a new agreement between Ottawa and Alberta could lead to new pipeline development. And another accolade in store for Canadian music icon Joni Mitchell.
Tomorrow,
the mouse appears to recover completely.
A Canadian-made drug that could change how we treat a deadly disease.
It was incredible.
All of that nearly derailed.
There appears to be something very wrong.
Why a Canadian company believes it was under attack. W5 investigates tomorrow on CTV National News and ctvnews.ca.
Later this week, Ottawa and the Alberta government are expected to sign a memorandum of understanding on energy and climate change. As CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver reports, sources say it's likely to pave the way for a new pipeline.
Another handshake between Alberta Premier Danielle Smith and Prime Minister Mark Carney is expected this week. And with that comes the conclusion of talks about a deal that will set the framework for an oil pipeline from Alberta to the BC coast.
Big picture, what we're looking to do and what we are doing is a series of major investments, nation-building projects that make our country stronger, more independent from the United States.
Sources say the memorandum of understanding that's expected to be signed this week will push the pipeline project forward and will necessitate some kind of carve-out from the tanker ban along the BC coast. It's also expected to scrap the planned federal emissions cap, bolster carbon capture, and change the industrial carbon tax. Many environmental groups say the cost of a new oil pipeline isn't worth it.
Definitely not enough is happening here. This is not striking a balance. It is not a grand bargain at all. It's a raw deal.
BC's Premier David Eby is also against a new oil pipeline. Eby says he told Carney today that if it goes ahead, coastal First Nations need to approve and the use of taxpayers' dollars should be limited.
My message to the Prime Minister was that either there should be a cap on the taxpayer dollars invested in this project, or there should be a prohibition on taxpayer dollars invested in this project, or if it is going to be taxpayer funded, that British Columbia get access to a $50 billion federally funded project as well.
Alberta plans to leverage private sector capital to get this pipeline built. But the MOU doesn't guarantee that will ever happen. The federal government says it wants the backing of British Columbia as well as Indigenous communities along the route. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
The hunt continues for a grizzly bear behind the attack on a group of elementary school students last week.
We're trying to determine, capture the offending bear involved, and really just to analyze and assess that bear and trying to determine and get answers as to why this happened.
The BC Conservation Officer Service says they're looking for a female and 2 young bears around Bella Coola off BC's central coast. About 20 students and staff were on a field trip Thursday when the bear came out of the forest and attacked them. 3 children and a teacher were sent to hospital with serious injuries. Turning to the latest on U.S.-led efforts to end the war in Ukraine. The United States and Ukraine say they've drafted a refined peace framework after Ukraine's allies criticized the original plan as being too pro-Russian. As talks are underway, Russia continues to launch attacks on Ukraine. Ukrainian officials say at least 4 people were killed and several others were injured in an attack on Kharkiv, which is just 30 kilometers from the Russian border. Ukraine's president says Kyiv will continue to work on steps that can bring an end to Russia's war. Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups has entered a plea of not guilty in a sweeping criminal case accusing the NBA Hall of Famer of conspiring with the mafia to rig illegal Billups arrived at the federal court in Brooklyn surrounded by cameras. More than 30 defendants, including members of New York crime families, are accused of orchestrating an elaborate scheme, capitalizing on the star power of pro athletes to lure victims to high-stakes card games, then cheat them out of their money. All of the accused have pleaded not guilty. A Canadian music legend will be celebrated at the Junos in March. Joni Mitchell is going to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award.
From Blue to her latest return to the stage, Joni just continues to inspire us with her artistry. So congratulations to Joni Mitchell.
I really don't know clouds. I really don't know clouds at all.
The singer-songwriter is going to be recognized for her incredible impact on music. She'll only be the third recipient of this top honor. Coming up, your full Saskatchewan forecast, plus Saskatchewan acting talent given the chance to showcase their skills.
The box office is proving to be a wonderful world for Wicked 2. Tuesday on Euro Morning, we're diving into this week in movies with a local film critic, what he thinks of the latest releases.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at your forecast heading into tonight and what's expected for the rest of the week. I think it's fair to say the nice above seasonal temperatures we saw over this last weekend, they're going to start to just feel colder. We're going to see those temperatures get closer to seasonal. If they aren't already there, some parts of the province saw them today get quite cool. Today in Regina, warmed up to just above zero late this afternoon. Currently sitting at -1 with a wind chill of -6. The winds picking up just under 20 kilometers an hour. So we do still have these snowfall warnings issued for parts of the southwest and along the border, the U.S. border. Now, this is a system that brought in snow beginning this morning, expecting to see 10 to 15 centimeters of snow in parts that are under those warnings, and that is expected. This snow is expected to taper off by later this evening into the early morning hours of tomorrow. Now, it's basically up until about the south central parts of the province that we're seeing these warnings issued. Maple Creek, Shaunavon also included in those warnings, and then we will see some snow come into the southeast around the Estevan area. But as we head into tomorrow morning, we should see much of that snow clear out, and you'll see it right now as we're moving into this evening. It's returning back into just south of the border down into the state. So we'll see that. Before it does, though, we'll see it stop in the Estevan area first thing tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow we're left with mostly cloudy conditions until we start to see the clouds break up later into the evening for Tuesday. Even though we're going to see the clouds break up and we'll see the snow clear, that does not mean that we are going to see warmer conditions. And actually, with the snow expected in the southwest there, once that snow does clear out, it does look like we could see the development of some gusty winds coming from the northwest, causing the temperatures also to dip and also causing some visibility issues. So please make sure you're keeping an eye on the highway hotline from tonight into tomorrow. But as we continue into the rest of the week, we're just going to see a mix of sun and cloud conditions throughout the rest of the week. And this is a quick updated look at what we can expect for snowfall totals between now into about Thursday. We could see, between now into Thursday, we won't really see much for the Maple Creek Swift Current area because the bulk of that snow has already hit the ground from this morning into now. But Estevan could see up to 6, Weyburn could see up to 4, and trace amounts for Regina, Moose Jaw area with 3 expected for the Assiniboia area. Temperatures, that's what we want to talk about. Colder than seasonal heading into parts of the north. La Loche -6 for Lloydminster as well. And then right around the seasonal range for Prince Albert -4. -4 also for Saskatoon, -6 for North Battleford. Again, these are the temperatures. This isn't including the wind chill value, which obviously will make those temperatures feel a little cooler there. Yorkton -3 tomorrow and cloudy. -2 for Maple Creek and a mix of sun and cloud. Swift Current -3, -2 and a mix of sun and cloud for Moose Jaw in the southeast. Looking at similar temperatures as well. And for Regina, dipping to -6 again for reference. Usually the average for this time of year is about -12, -13, so warmer than seasonal for our low. Tomorrow, -3, right within that average range with a mix of sun and cloud. And in terms of what's to come, well, they're all below zero temperatures, and even some of our overnight lows, our lows are expecting to get cooler as well, which means you may want to consider starting to plug your vehicles in. -3, mix of sun and cloud tomorrow. Sunny on Wednesday, -5, -8, and mainly sunny on Thursday. By Friday, mostly cloudy, -7, and then a complete opposite. We saw above zero temperatures this past weekend. Next weekend, dipping to -13 with a mix of sun and cloud. By Sunday, -12 and mainly sunny conditions. And to start your work week, -11 with a mix of sun and cloud. So we're back into that seasonal range, if not a little colder than seasonal. But as you saw in that forecast, Cole, not much for moisture or snow coming through.
Well, we'll take that for now. Just looking at that forecast for this weekend, it really makes you grateful that the football season wrapped up this last weekend and not this coming weekend.
Yeah,
so
can't argue with that, that's for sure.
Right on. Thanks, Sabine.
Thanks, Cole.
Well, the resurgence of Saskatchewan's film industry is creating more opportunities for aspiring actors. And this weekend, several stars of tomorrow had the chance to showcase their talent for industry leaders. Wayne Mantika reports.
As much as he loves her, was capable of loving anyone.
It was an evening for Saskatchewan actors to be discovered.
Message tonight is anyone can do it. I mean, we have people that have just started out a few months ago. We've had people that have been in the industry for over 15 years.
Actors hoping to land roles in future films performed before an audience that included film producers seeking talent.
Through auditions, you also discover new people, and I know that we had a few people that really surprised me, and I've never heard of this person or seen this person, and then they're perfect for the roles.
The actors have been developing skills through classes and coaching at Regina's Bar S Studios.
There are a ton of talented people here, and people don't need to move to Toronto or Vancouver. They can start a career right here. We always say that a career in Saskatchewan film and television is not just possible, it's probable.
Among those assessing the talent was veteran Regina film producer Kevin DeWalt.
You need good actors to make good movies, and events like this is an opportunity to see the kind of young talent, and hopefully there'll be some stars that come out of it.
The return of government incentives is driving demand for homegrown talent. These actors hope to be among the stars who play a role in rebuilding Saskatchewan's film industry. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
After the break, Saskatchewan's football season comes to a close. A recap of Saturday's Vanier Cup in Regina is up next.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
Saskatchewan's football season is now over, but it went as long as it could this year. Damien Smith has the recap of Saturday's Vanier Cup at Mosaic Stadium, which didn't go the way the U of S Huskies were hoping.
It's a tough loss for the U of S Huskies, who have lost this game 3 times in the last 5 years.
It's meant a lot, you know, the program. I know it's hard to put into words right now. It's crazy, you know, but I love the program, love the guys. I'm happy I got to spend my 5 years here with them.
But this game wasn't just about winning the school's first Vanier Cup in decades. It was about winning it for quarterback Anton Amendrud, who left the team mid-season after being diagnosed with lymphoma.
We wanted nothing more than to bring that trophy back to that guy. Unfortunately, we're gonna be coming empty-handed, but we're bringing a lot of love to him.
For Montreal, the trip out west was worth it, led by Rookie of the Year quarterback Pepe Gonzalez, who threw for 3 touchdowns.
It's amazing. It's amazing to be rewarded for the hard work we put in the whole season. We had rainy days, we had snowing days, but the guys showed up to every practice and they give it 100% their best, and that showed today.
The game was a 1-possession game until Gonzalez hit Simon LaRose for a touchdown in the 4th quarter.
Took the time out of the clock, and then when we was in an obvious situation of running, we decided to play action. I did a great route. Pepe threw me a great ball. I was hoping it all worked out, man. After my touchdown, I knew that was like the dagger.
This is the 2nd title in 3 years for Montreal, and the past 4 years have been titles won by teams in Quebec, with Laval being the other one winning in 2022 and 2024. Damien Smith, CTV News, Regina.
As hockey season heats up, city officials in Weyburn dealt with an unusual situation over the weekend. The city's main Zamboni, used in its arena complex, which includes the Whitecap Resources Center and the Tom Zandu Sports Arena, caught fire during a U15 game on Sunday. A quick response by rink staff and the Weyburn Fire Department led to the fire quickly being contained, and both rinks were safely evacuated. Play continued after a short delay. The city will use its outdoor Zamboni until the indoor one can be inspected and repaired. Still to come, police look for your help in solving a brazen laptop theft from a Regina business on this week's Crime Stopper.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at what you can expect for your rural forecast heading into tomorrow. It's back to average or seasonal temperatures for this time of year. Seeing a little bit of cloud cover to start your day. Should see some of that cloud cover clear as we head into the late afternoon, especially for areas like Hudson Bay, Wynyard, and Melfort. All seeing seasonal temperatures -5 for Melfort, Hudson Bay -3, Wynyard -4, Watrous also -4. A little bit of sunshine for areas like Meadow Lake, Lloydminster, a mix of sun and cloud -5. The closer we get to the southern border, temperatures really won't be changing much. A little cooler in East End Cypress there at -6, and then -3 for many parts of the southeast, and cloudy conditions as well. If we take a closer look at Blaine Lake, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel, located about 80 kilometers north of Saskatoon. Tomorrow, seeing mainly sunny conditions, winds up to 20 with -6 as the daytime high, but with a wind chill of -11.
The incident happened on October the 2nd, 2025 at a business on the 1100 block of East Victoria Avenue. A man entered a business and stole a laptop that was sitting on the desk and left. There are some good pictures of the suspect. He has a green camo ball cap, short black hair, mustache, about average height. He had a white undershirt, gray zip-up, blue jeans, and white shoes. If you recognize this man, call Crime Stoppers.
I'm Constable Dana Adams with the Regina Police Service. Crime Stoppers will pay up to $2,000 cash reward for information on this or any other serious crime in Regina. Callers do not have to identify themselves. Calls are not traced or recorded. In Regina, Saskatchewan, and Canada, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 1-800-222-8477. You can also access our website at www.reginacrimestoppers.ca. Remember, our community suffers when you remain silent. Please report crime.
Crime Stoppers is brought to you by Leak Audiology, helping you live well with better hearing.
Concerned farmers and citizens rolled into the legislative building grounds on Saturday to show their support for the Universal Ostrich Farm in Edgewood, BC. Earlier this month, more than 300 ostriches were euthanized by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency during a call, nearly 1 year after the birds tested positive for avian influenza. The event was live streamed by the ostrich farm and has left many with feelings of distress across the country.
After what happened on November 6th and seeing the slaughter the next day and everything that was done and the RCMP and how hard they pushed against the people, I just couldn't stay silent, and felt like I had to speak up. If a flu goes through
Organizers say that there are plans for the support rallies to continue in locations around Saskatchewan in the months to come. Do you know how many germs are right at your fingertips? Many of us don't, which is why a team of Regina grad students wanted to share their knowledge for World Antimicrobial Awareness Week. Several U of R students set up various stations at the Saskatchewan Science Centre on the weekend to make learning fun while also bringing attention to an important topic. With DNA sampling stations, microscopes, and more, they were able to share their research with participants of all ages.
This entire week, there is activities across the world highlighting antimicrobial awareness and resistance in general. It's some event that we also held last year, and it's just to try to expand and get more people aware of antimicrobial resistance, and then we'll continue to build on this event each year.
The team of student scientists added they plan to continue their research into the future, sharing their findings in a fun way for everyone. Small businesses in Saskatchewan are urging people to shop local during the Christmas shopping season. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says nationally, 1/3 of small businesses rely on holiday sales for a large portion of their revenue, yet 20% are expecting lower sales. Here in Saskatchewan, business owners say they're facing increasing pressures when it comes to insurance costs and property taxes. The CFIB highlights that for each dollar spent, many small businesses put more money back into the community than some big box store retailers, issuing the reminders heading into Black Friday. Here's a look at your markets today. The TSX was up about 443 points to 30,604. The Dow Jones was up about 202 points to 46,448. The Canadian dollar was down closer to the 70-cent U.S. mark, trading a little bit below 71 at the moment. Commodities, gold was down about 39 cents an ounce. West Texas Intermediate crude oil was up about 90 cents per barrel to $58.96. Western Canadian Select crude was on the other side of that trend, down 86 cents a barrel to $45.34. Gas prices in Regina, the most common you'll see is around $1.29.9. The lowest is just over $1 per liter.
Hello there. Canadian and U.S. stocks rose today after wavering last week on a fresh rally in giant technology and artificial intelligence names. Shares in Alphabet, parent of Google, hit a new record high. The company's latest Gemini 3 AI model is getting good reviews, and it's seen as a threat to arch-rival OpenAI. In Canada, the Toronto Composite Index gained more than 1%, even as trade talks with the U.S. remain stalled. Both governments are now inclining to roll disputes into next year's broad review of the North American Trade Accord, sources told Bloomberg. Shares in Loblaw and Royal Bank of Canada hit record highs. And shares in Toronto-based Barrick Mining hit their highest in 13 years after the gold and copper producer struck a deal with Mali in West Africa to end a dispute that shut down one of the company's biggest operations. Mali will take legal steps to release 4 jailed Barrick employees, and the company will reportedly accept Mali's 2023 mining code, which it previously resisted, and pay a settlement. Those are your business headlines. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
All right, coming up tonight, St. Denis Medical at 7 o'clock, followed by Stumble, The Voice, The Weakest Link Tracker, and then, of course, our national and local news. Cole left me. It's just me. This feels weird. All right, let's get to it. Canada's new top dog has been crowned. That is Prince, the Pekingese, who came in first at the Canadian Kennel Club's National Championship Dog Show over the weekend. Prince was named Best in Show and, along with his owner, collected a $5,000 prize. 834 dogs from across the country competed, representing 135 breeds. Well, it's the rare world record that has set the bar lower than ever before. Yeah, this is a wild story. Free diving to a new record depth of 86 meters below the surface, Ukrainian free diver Katerina Sidurska surpassed her own previous world benchmark in the discipline without fins. In 3 minutes and 32 seconds, she descended with 10 strokes before entering free fall, then returned to the surface with 31 strokes, all in one single breath. That's a challenge. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow.